Yo, what up, friends? NBA, should Jayson Tatum return? Yes or no? Bobby, we'll start with you, the non-Celtics fan. What do you think?
No.
No.
Don't
Wait till
risk.
next year.
Yeah, we seen what happened to Clay. He tried to come back, or he got hurt during his rehab, and we saw what happened to KD trying to come back too early. So, nah.
Okay. All right, Warren.
It's a no for me, dude.
You're hurting my heart. You're hurting my heart.
So I'm going to say something that's going to be a little controversial, so to speak. And to me, Tatum and Brown have a certain level of confidence that almost borders on clout chasing. Like it really does. Because Tatum, I think he's searching for a certain level of respect, and people have forgotten about him in a lot of ways. Because remember, it was going to be Tatum. So he's going to be MVP and multiple MVPs, and we're not talking about those things anymore. So now he can be the first guy to come back from the surgery in X amount of time and potentially lead his team to a storied playoff run on a storied franchise. There's a certain level of confidence that he has as a player that I admire, but also is like, do you really need to do that? Like, is it really worth it? And I'm not sure there. So that's a long-winded way of saying, like, I don't think he should come back, but I know he is.
But now you've just told me, and in my thinking, that we have another NBA conspiracy, and they're going to have a Jayson Tatum, Willis Reed-like emergence in the finals to help us win, like Porgy did a couple of years ago. I was there for that game, by the way, game one of the finals. It was amazing. I was sitting right next to the Celtics bench. It was tremendous. Cal, what you got?
Nah.
No! Wow! 3 of them.
Nope.
Yeah.
But it's just not a good it's not a good look for the Celtics right now. I think this is the kind of season that Jaylen Brown needed. This is the kind of season Joe Mazzulla needed. It's the kind of season Peyton Pritchard and all of these guys, Sam Hauser, they needed this type of season. I think the storyline with the Celtics, especially since they won the championship, was how dependent they are on Jayson Tatum being quote unquote the MVP guy. And I think Jaylen Brown, him, and I'll do the inverse conversation of the clout chasing part to Shaw's point. Jaylen Brown wins NBA Finals MVP, and yet he's still not being, touted. He's still not being given the respect that I think even he believed was necessary because he plays next to a great player like Jayson Tatum, right? He gets the Supermax deal first, right? And he's still not getting that level of respect. He gets that deal, and they're just like questioning whether or not the Celtics should have. They felt like they were forced to do it because they won the championship, right? In spite of him being the great player that he is. I think this season has validated how great of a player that he is, and I think they need to see it through. Now, I'm not saying that Jayson Tatum should have to come back. I'm just saying that, like, I don't want him to come back because, to the point, one, injury, but also two, the Celtics as a team, I think it's helping them so that when he does come back, the expectations that we have will fall a lot better in line with what you now see, what this team is capable of showing you, than the dependency of having Jayson Tatum had he been prior to, his injury.
Omar, before you jump in, I wanted to say this one thing, because what made me say what I said was watching All-Star Weekend, and that NBC has been doing a documentary on his comeback.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that yet.
Okay. Yeah. Like, okay. All right. Like, you know what I mean? Like they have been diametrically opposed in a lot of ways, Tatum and Brown. They've been pitted against each other, and they both are fighting and swimming upstream when it comes to that level of respect and notoriety. And then Tatum off the championship, and then the Olympic thing with Steve Kerr. Like there's just been a lot of like slights and digs at them as individuals that kind of keep the proverbial chip on their shoulder at all times. That might also cloud their judgment as they're trying to get rid of that chip, you know what I mean, to kind of prove themselves. And I just don't think this is the methodology that needs to be done for Tatum, especially as an NBA champion now. But I think cooler heads are not going to prevail, especially when I saw that, there's a doc coming out on this whole thing.
I didn't see the doc, but I completely agree. Do I think Tatum should come back for health reasons? No, obviously no one should come back early from any sort of catastrophic injury, such as an Achilles, ACL, or other things.
Hey, Shaw, does this remind you of another scenario similar? The numbers may not match up to it, but it does kind of remind you of what happened with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. When Klay Thompson was on his ascension, and Steph Curry was suffering the ankle injuries and stuff, and Klay Thompson basically had to take leadership of the team, for an extended period of time. It's just like it just feels like it's such a struggle with two great players that they just can't have their own lane of greatness, without having to usurp another person if they're playing on the same team. It feels like, I know we don't do that, right? The real heads, we don't do that, but the fans choose to put them in that kind of space at times, which is, it sucks because we're talking about it because of someone's injury. And now that we have an opportunity to see how great a player truly is because he doesn't have those other elements that may have quieted down or tempered it down, it's like we're saying, okay, when he comes back, right, like everything should be all good or there'll be this great team. And no, that's not always guaranteed. Like just because Tatum comes back here doesn't mean that he's going to instantly make the Celtics an even better team. Yes, he'll make them better, right? Of course, like who he is and what he is. But that doesn't mean that the chemistry will be as the same. It doesn't mean that like the flow of how this team operates and how and how Mazzulla works with the roster is going to feel the same. All of that. And you're talking about trying to do that with like 20 games left in the season before playoffs. Like, I don't see where that makes any kind of sense.
It's like we said on the show, right? I think with JT, it's not just, hey, he's a great scorer and playmaker. It's also he's been a good defender. And I'm concerned about his ability to defend at that level, kind of coming back, or the strain he's going to put on himself to try to make the Celtics an elite level contender, right? That's why it just doesn't seem like it's ultimately worth it. But I think you're bringing up great points there. And Klay never got to run a whole season by himself, like the way that Jalen has. Like he's never had that level of stretch where Klay got to do that. And I said, Klay could be a number one. He never got to do it, right? Jalen Brown is doing that right now, and I think to Tatum's credit, he did. At least it was reported that he said, like, yeah, I'm trying to think about, do I come back and do I mess up the chemistry if I do? But I think he's probably saying, you know what, I'll find a way to figure this out and elevate this team. And that's why I think, again, they're saying March 1st is when we'll probably see JT back. So, watch out for that.
Okay. Well, see, I wouldn't do that early. I would wait till the playoffs were ready for.
All right, I got a question because you guys are you Celtics guys, and actually, Cal, it's interesting that you brought that comparison. I got one that's a little closer to home. Do you think his absence is putting a battery in the back of not only Jaylen Brown, but like the core guys?
Mm-hmm.
Like Kyrie's injury did when they were young. Remember, they were the best team in the league. Kyrie goes down.
Yeah, you're right.
Kyrie goes down. They continued through the playoffs, made this run to the Eastern Conference Finals without him. And that next season, it was kind of like, we don't really need you, bro. And I think that kind of started the dissension of the locker room per se, with between those guys and Kyrie. You think that, and not to say that it'll cause friction, but you just think the core guys just getting that battery in their back, like,
I think it's a lesson well learned.
JT.
I think the JT and JB have really done a great job.
Yeah.
I honestly am saying this. I'm not trying to manufacture, hype or drama or nothing. But they really have done a great job of tempering down where the media has this tendency to try to create that division between them. You know what I'm saying? Of giving oxygen to the idea that they can't play with each other, right? And I'm not even talking about before them winning the championship. I'm talking about even after them winning the championship. Like I brought up before about Jaylen Brown getting that Supermax extension. I understand that he was here first. But listen, the Celtics could have dog walked that whole situation as well too, which in essence could have been dissing Jaylen Brown at the expense of JT. So I know that JT had to be on board with, hey, you do whatever you got to do for us to keep this team together, which is exactly what Brad Stevens had done with, with laying out what he's done as far as laying out the kind of contracts and everything like that. So that tells me that their relationship is good. And I think to your point, Bobby, that's an extension of learning the experiences they dealt with what happened to Kyrie Irving during their early part of their career.
I went straight to JT because I was so excited about your answers, and now I'm not anymore because you all said no. So I'm just gonna say, bring him back Willis Reed style. Maybe second round of the playoffs, start working him in a little bit, but play him 20, 15 minutes a game here and there, see what he can do. But no, I know the pertinent way to do it is to let him rest and let him fully recover. Obviously, don't want to see what could be, one of the best players. He already is one of the best players of Celtics, but one of the greatest ever.
He could borrow Paul Pierce's wheelchair.
You know what? If you ever besmirch the great name of Paul Anthony Pierce, I will come through this screen. What the?
Subscribe on YouTube at Ball and Buds for sports and entertainment live streams and videos.